Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be painting this watercolor whale, so grab your paints and let's begin. So for supplies, I'm going to be using a size 10 round brush, a size 4 just if I want to paint any smaller details, and then I have a pencil. I'm just going to draw a darker sketch for you so you can see the shape of the whale. And then to finish off, I have a Uni Posca or Posca 0.7 pen just to add some white details. And if that's not bright enough, then I will swap over to a jelly roll. As I have mixed permanent rose with Prussian blue, then I have a little bit of Prussian blue on its own, and then some indigo for that more deep blue colour. So taking my pencil, I'm just going to be going over the shape that I've already drawn for the whale, just so I make sure that you can see it. This is just a sketch, remember. I also have a rubber if I need to rub out anything I don't like. So it's just sort of a curving shape, and then the top head of the whale and body is slightly more flat. And then for the tail, we have two curves that sort of, this is the outer tail that we can see, and then the behind part. And then the arms have a sort of a circular, and then it comes down, sorry, the fins, and they can be sort of wobbly. And then the mouth starts sort of just in the middle, and then has a dip where the eye comes, and then that sort of just disappears around this area. And then we have another fin that comes behind as well, but this obviously we can't see the full arm. So this is just the basic outline for the whale. So let's get straight into painting it. And just before I begin, I'm just going to lightly remove as much of the pencil that I can see, so that we're not left with harsh pencil lines. And the only thing that I'm going to keep very visible is the shape of the eye, because I do want to be able to see that very clearly. Okay, so I'm going to take my size 10, and I'm going to start off just by wetting the top half of the whale and just pushing it down like that. And this is because I want the colours to blend as soon as I put the colour to the paper. So I'm just painting around half of the body, and then the bottom half, the belly, is going to be more lighter, which is why we're not blending those together. So just making sure that it's going to stay nice and wet as you put paint on it. Okay, and now I'm going to go in with my Prussian blue first, and I'm just going to let the water decide where I put my paint. So maybe going to add a bit of blue here. We're just going to be placing it in patches. So maybe some blue there, maybe a little bit here as well. Do maybe a couple of dots, like so. So taking our purple mix of permanent rose and Prussian blue, I'm just going to go in and add some purple colour. Just like so. Maybe make the tail, you can see this part has already dried. So I'm just going to clean my brush and go over it with some water to make it wet again, because we don't want to be painting on dry paper. And then we're just going to take some indigo, and we're going to add some darkness to our whale. give him a little bit of mystery behind the gentle animal that whales are. Whales probably have to be one of my most favorite animals. I love how they are so giant, but yet they are so gentle. They can hurt you so badly without even knowing they've done so. And I find them to be incredible. They always amaze me. And I wish people were not out there hunting them and would just leave these beautiful creatures on their own. Okay, so I kind of like how this creature is looking now. So I'm going to go in with the bottom half now. So just taking my brush, it is slightly wet, and I'm just going to begin by adding water, but not touching the colour we've placed here, and avoiding where we've placed the arm of the whale, as we can't paint over it if we let any colour leak onto there. So as you can see, some colour is leaking through now, which is fine. I don't mind that. Gives it sort of that loose watercolor effect, which I love so much. And if you don't like it, you can just brush it away. It's just all part of the fun with watercolors, I think. Oh, there we go. We brought it all down. So I'm just taking off a bit of water from my brush. Kind of looks like a galaxy whale, doesn't it? Okay, and now we want to go with a lighter blue for the underbelly. So I'm going to take Prussian Blue and also a little bit of cerulean just to lighten up that blue. And I'm just going to start by going towards the sort of the bottom of the belly, where the shadow and the base would be. And I'm just going in and I'm just placing a little bit of colour all the way around there. Again, not too concerned about all the colour we have leaking. That's absolutely fine, in my opinion. Like so. So you can still see that there is a difference, obviously. And you can still make out where the top and where the bottom is. And then just going in with my brush slightly wet, I'm going to go in and I'm just going to add some water. We're going to push some of the pigment around and create these beautiful cauliflower effects. I'm also going to add in some salt for texture. I'm going to go in with a bit more Prussian Blue now, and I'm just going to add a little bit of darkness over here, as I just think it can be slightly darker towards the underbelly. And go in with a little bit of purple as well, with just a nice clean brush, and just tie in the whole body together. And then going in with a clean brush, I'm just going to blend those colours, maybe even lift some colours upwards. Okay. And we're just going to play around. I'm going to also go around the eye and make sure that we blend it all together. Okay, and then for the fin at the back, I'm just going to take Indigo and I'm going to paint that in. And we're just going to leave that like that. Make that one quite simple. And then going with any indigo, I'm going to add maybe a little bit bottom here, a little bit over there, and just towards the tip of the body. And then I think we're going to let this dry now, and we're going to wait for the body to dry. And just as it's a little bit almost dry but not entirely, we're going to go in and add some salt for some texture, and then we'll go in and do the arms once they're dry. So the bottom of the whale is almost dry, so I'm just going to take some salt and I'm just going to sprinkle it over, and I'm just going to let that dry, and it's going to create this beautiful textured effect. And then where I can see on the top that it is almost dry, because I do have some puddles here where there's quite a lot of colour, I'm just going to go in and place that salt on top, and it's going to help give us that lovely texture that I love so much. Just going to sprinkle salt and let it do its thing. So I'm going to wait now, let this dry, and then we can go in with the arms and then the final details at the end. Now that's done, I'm going to switch to my size 4, and I'm going to go in to paint the hands. I'm going to start by filling it in with some clean water, so we get that blending and nice wet on wet technique. You can go over this after with some black pen or white pen and sort of give it an ink and wash, but I'm going to stick to just leaving it as purely watercolor and just add in the details with some white pen. You can use white acrylic, white gouache. There's really I don't have any preference. This is just what I have with me today. And also it's a little bit easier with pens to do fine details because you can choose the size of your nib. So I'm going to take my Prussian Blue, and I'm just going to start by, just splodging messily. Again, we're not trying to be perfect. I'm going to take some of that purple, maybe dab a little bit over there and some here, and just do a tiny bit on the other arm. And then I'm going to go in with a little bit of indigo and just add some, just to darken the tone a little bit. So I'm going to fill in some of the blank spots and just create some texture. The nice thing about watercolor is it creates its own texture, so you don't control unless you want to control, but you can just let it do its own thing and you get this beautiful outcome. So I'm going to leave the arms like that. Once I filled it in, I'm just going to take a little bit of salt. I'm just going to place it over where the arms are, just to again get that beautiful effect. And we're just going to leave that to dry, and then we can start now with our white details. So I'm going to be starting off with my Uni Posca pen, and I'm just going to do small little half circles everywhere, and this is going to be sort of the bumpy scales that you can sometimes find on whales. And then where the mouth is, I'm just going to outline it in white. And then I'm just going to do the lines that they have on their belly. I'm also going to do that in white. And then I'm going to fill the eye with white because we had some paint go over it. So I'm going to fill it up with white, and then you can take a black pen or black watercolor and go over it. And there we have it. And then for the arms, I'm just going to add little bumps as well to the arms. So I'm just going to add some bumps to where the arms are, as they also tend to have scales there. I'm just doing this very roughly, as I don't want it to be perfect. And then I'm going to take a black pen and I'm just going to dot in the eye. So I'm using a size 5 micron. And there you have it, a simple and easy watercolor whale. So I hope you enjoyed today's tutorial and you had fun. Please give this video a like and subscribe, and I will see you in my next video.